Oh boy.
Hi, everybody. Beautiful Sunday here in Massachusetts. Trying to make the most of it. Do we have any announcements today? Menla, Captain Menla? Well, it's nice to see you all. And welcome. I hope you're well.
Ben will be putting the all the info in the chat, but I'd like to remind people that our second series of master classes will begin on September 18th. It'll be once a month on Saturdays from 11 to 1, just like last year if you joined us. New topics, new discussions. Join us, please, and Ben will have all that in the chat for you. So Mama, take it away.
Yes, I want to second that emotion. Please join us. It's going to be good. And it's not going to be the same as last year. It's Masterclass Series 2 from September until May, once a month on Saturdays, and 2 hours of teaching and practice. And just to emphasize, it's not going to be the same as next year. And also many of us, we sometimes feel we keep hearing the same things because, to tell you the truth, I want to keep teaching the same important key things. Not everything about Buddhism or everything about Vajrayana and Tantric Buddhism, which is just infinite. Because the mission here is transmission and transformation for a better world to be possible, and not studying about isms and schisms or history or cosmology. So the subject of the first masterclass is going to be the 5 endowments, the 5 perfections. No, not the 6 paramitas perfections. The 5 perfections, the perfect time, the perfect place, and so on, of the Vajrayana mandala. And that's not a subject many are extremely familiar with in popular culture, but it's often taught by Tibetan lamas to their, students. So please join us. And it's a beautiful day to get together here. It's Sunday. It's the summer. If you're with us here in the Northern Hemisphere, at least, I know there are other time zones and hemispheres in play. There's a lot going on in the world, and we're not going to dwell on that. But of course, we're all part of it, and connected and interconnected and interdependent and interbeing and so on. So we can't ignore what's going on, whether it's the current pandemic crisis and surges and things we would do well to pay attention to and learn more about and handle skillfully, as well as the environmental crisis that recently came out with that big report, which we've been hearing this for a long time, and it's coming more and more to light, although I don't know if all the world leaders are listening. And other things, obviously, in this country, voting rights, racism, Black Lives Matters, and other important issues around the world, too numerous to mention. So opening our hearts to include all in our prayers and sterling aspirations and practices today in the Mahayana spirit, the spirit of universal deliverance, of universal enlightenment, Mahayana, the big boat, the universal bodhisattva path, including all. And it's very important, I think, to continue to go deeper and broader into this question of what is real and what is true, and who are we and why are we here today, which Buddhism, has an interesting angle on about. So what I just described is English, modern language, but Buddhist talk is like about no self, impermanence, mortality, rebirth, and so on. So it's good to think about these things if you like to think about them, and at least to contemplate and discover some of these universal truths, like through your own experience, watching the impermanent nature of thoughts and feelings and sensations in the present moment, you can learn a lot without studying the whole dialectics of emptiness, the 12 interdependent links of dependent origination, and other Buddhist doctrines. My own first, he's really not my first meditation teacher, Goenkaji in India, but because I had a Zen teacher in college, Philip Kaplan Roshi at the Rochester Zen Center. But Goenkaji, I was just laughing because I was ahead of myself already with the description of him as my first effective meditation teacher. He actually, through his 10-day meditation course on mindfulness and loving kindness, Vipassana Metta, actually trained us to be able to meditate and to keep meditating since then in 1971. So he was my first effective meditation teacher. And his main teaching is about impermanence, which is one of the three characteristics of existence according to Buddha's basic teachings. Anicca, impermanence; anatta, no separate, independent, permanent self; and dukkha, dissatisfactoriness of unenlightened life. So he always said that the door, the portal to liberation is impermanence. So that's an easy to say, but hard to realize and penetrate fact of life, or what Buddha called the characteristic of existence, which it probably is good for us to contemplate in our own experience directly. In the present moment, noticing the impermanence in our body, in our age, in our thinking, and also around us, the seasons changing and civilizations rising and falling, and solar systems coming and going, and species coming and going. I often say this just because it's a good hyperbole to think about. The dinosaurs seem to have lived here for 75 million years, and now they're gone. We don't even realize they were here so much longer than Homo sapiens, who've only been around for however you want to count, 200,000 years, 400,000 years, since the cave people jumped out of trees and lived in caves. So everything is impermanence, which means there's nothing we can hold on to or rely on very long in the outer dimension of things. And that can free us from a lot of unsatisfying, unfulfilling behavior, putting all energy into trying to preserve or protect or concretize and solidify things that are impermanent, evanescent, ungraspable, and hollow. So as we go into these things in our own practice, in the laboratory of our own experience, and what's called our meditation session, it can be very revealing as we experience it for ourselves. For example, we might even have a pain in the knee or the back or somewhere and think we have to move. But as we learn to meditate, we might notice that it's just restlessness, and actually those physical sensations might come and go, or even your foot might fall asleep and then it doesn't hurt anymore. I'm not advocating that's a good thing to do, but nobody has had to have, we haven't lost any limbs since we've been in this biz due to falling asleep limbs for 20 minutes or 30 minutes. So things change, just like with our habitual thoughts and other things that we might feel caught in. On the other hand, as the French say, the more they change, the more they remain the same. It's a great French saying, which I used to be able to say in French, but can't remember. And it's very congruent with what we're talking about, because the more they change, the more they keep, it's always changing. So it's all, the more it keeps the same, which is, as the mantra goes, this too shall pass. Goenkaji, my first effective meditation teacher, the Burmese Indian master in India, who taught many of us, the leading mindfulness teachers in the West today. He was their teacher too. We were all together in India in those 70s. He always used to say, just remember, this too shall pass. And he liked to tell a story, which I'm not going to spend 10 minutes telling, about the young couple who came to his teacher and asked for a blessing for marriage, and his teacher was Burmese. I'm going to mention his name just for inspiration, the great U Ba Kim of Burma. who had disciples like U Thant of Burma, the premier of Burma in the 50s, who became Secretary General of the UN. Goenkaji's teacher, U Ba Khin, was the Accountant General of Burma. So if you think that meditation is impractical or you don't have time for it, somehow these people managed to have time for family, career, public service, and getting enlightened through decades of continuous meditation practice and occasional retreats. I find this very inspirational for us today. They were not monks. There's a layman's practicing tradition. I must say lay person's practicing tradition. In fact, U Ba Khin of Burma's main disciple was a woman, Sayama, who many of us studied with if we made it to Burma in those days, as I did. So the story was a young people came to this great master U Ba Khin and asked for his blessing of their marriage. And he said, Buddha didn't bless marriages. This is like almost like Buddhist East Asian black humor. Can't even say black humor anymore. Whatever you want to call it. Yeah, we used to call it black humor. Okay. And he said, inscribe inside your wedding rings the Buddhist mantra, this too shall pass. And Goenka was saying this, we were all laughing because he was married for about 50 years. And but things are impermanent. And inscribing it on the gold wedding band, which is a circle of loyalty, faithfulness, permanence. It was really like a Buddhist non sequitur. And anyway, that's my story. This too shall pass is a very important mantra in English, I think, for us all. So this pandemic too shall pass, but who knows? Maybe it won't just end. Maybe the variants will continue. Who knows what's next? Anyway, things are changing. And if you think about your own life, notice how many changes we've been through, from children, infants, to school kids, to teens, and other things that seem like it would never end. And then young adults and, whatever role we have in life now, getting older, our different roles as student, as mate, as professional, whatever. And yet something in us hasn't changed that much. What people call their self or their identity or their personality, even though it's a little bit based on memory, it actually has probably changed plenty. So this is a mystery to plumb into. What changes? What, if anything, has continuity or remains the same? Who am I, as Ramana Maharshi and Nisargadatta Maharaj and others ask us to ask ourselves? Who and what are we? Beyond the shape, the age, the gender, the nationality, what we think of as identity. As long ago as 1995, I had a chapter heading in my book, Awakening the Buddha Within, called We Are All Buddhas. It may even be the title of the foreword or introduction I wrote to the book. I got a lot of flack for it in those days. Now everybody's saying something like that. But it's a timeless ancient message. Thou art that, Tatwam Asi. Thou art that, with capital T, from the Indian Upanishads, the ancient scriptures of India. I am the one, some Christian mystics said. And they got excommunicated for that by the Roman Church, Meister Eckhart. But it's a great war cry of the Supreme Self, the transcendental being that's beyond any of us, transcendent over any of us, yet immanent, indwelling in each and all of us. So as we meditate and go deeper into this, deepening our practice, our penetrating insight, our gaze, our inquiry, not settling for easy answers. Oh, there's no self. That's an easy answer. When you get mad, who's mad? And how easy is it to just, get over that? If we notice this too shall pass, it helps. I like to look into who or what is mad. It kind of pops the bubble before the pink bubble grows and bursts on my face. If you know what I'm talking about, bubble gum. And it only grows from one's own pressure, filling that bubble till it bursts on oneself. Anger is like that too. Anger is not yet devolved into rage, violence, action. So it's not the feeling, but how we respond to it that makes all the difference. Feel the feeling and then learn how to have a healthy integrated response, not just ignoring it, not just suppressing it. So anicca is one of the great teachings, I think, universal truth that Buddha really emphasized that we can all benefit from. So we don't invest in the fool's gold of things that can't bring us lasting fulfillment. So now let's have a little practice session. Oh, I know what I wanted to say. If you're studying these things, if you look into Longchenpa's book, weirdly titled Kindly Bent to Ease Us by the translator, Professor Herbert Gunther in the 70s and 80s, the Kindly Bent to Ease Us trilogy, the famous Nalso Korsam by Longchenpa, he gives a way of 18 examples of impermanence that we can contemplate. So we see it all around us and also within us, like the seasons, like the civilizations, like constructions, buildings and things that rise and fall, mortality, all those who are born die, and all that, springs up. What's the word? Degenerates, like plants and things and trees. 18 examples it's worth looking into. It's in the impermanence in the sort of Nundro section of Kindly Bent to Ease Us. It's a strange title, but it's from Jonathan Swift. Professor Gunther was a Germanic, English kind of scholar. These days we have a different language of Western Buddhism. It's a little more accessible, but it's also a little more like finger painting, perhaps, than scientific writing. So it's more accessible, at least. Anyway, let's make ourselves comfortable. If you're not already, you might want to stand up and turn around 3 times before you sit down again, like my puppy used to, and change the mood and start afresh and check out your seat like the puppy so you don't sit on a stick or a stone or a snake or something. You never know. Mindfulness is curative. Mindlessness is dangerous. Pay attention, it pays off. So let yourself arrive and settle and let the tension drain out of your body into the seat, into the ground. Ground yourself. Imagine or sense the silver string, the axis, from the zenith to the nadir, running through you from your crown chakra down your spine or central channel, at your bottom into the ground, to the center of gravity of the earth, and just aligning ourselves in the still axis of the axle of the turning wheel of the planet, of the solar system, of the cosmos, of the mandala of our being, the energy fields and physical and mental and emotional sheaths that comprise us. Alignment, balance, harmony. A master body worker, perhaps the founder of the Alexander technique, or maybe it was Moshe Feldenkrais who founded the Feldenkrais method of body movement, balance, and natural healing, said the best posture, the most healing posture is to stand upright naturally. So I like that. So just sit upright naturally and let everything settle and align. Like the spinal cord, the discs of the spinal column on straight on top of each other like a stack of coins. If it gets out of balance, the stack of coins just falls over. So aligned, So the breath can flow naturally as it's meant to, not bent out of shape or leaning or twisted. And so the inner breath, the subtle energy, the prana, the chi, whatever you call it, that's the chi of Tai Chi, of Qigong. Prana, same word. The chi can flow naturally and straight, as it were. Straighten out your spine, straighten out your breath and energy and mind. As Saraha, the Fletcher, the arrow maker, Saraha sang, aligning with the natural state. Not union with the natural state, reunion with the natural state, which you've never been really separate from. Coming home to oneself, just sitting, just breathing, just being, the three naturals of natural meditation: natural body, Buddha body, natural breath and energy, Buddha's breath and energy, let it go, let it flow, and natural heart mind, Buddha mind, the natural great perfection, the natural great completeness of Dzogchen, of Mahamudra, the ultimate perspective, the great stance, Mahamudra, the ultimate symbol, pointing to itself as Trungpa defined it. The one without a second, perhaps the sacred singularity, the oneness beyond one or two or nothingness. Those are just concepts, just being, beyond being a separate being, just being, pure process, going nowhere, fully inhabiting the present moment through just sitting, just breathing, just awareful, awaring. Awareness is a verb. Awareness with an A plus. Present awareness, presencing, pure presence, awakening in the sacred presence, naked awareness, awareness aware of awareness, nowness, awareness, fresh, ever fresh, the natural great perfection of things left just as they are, a lawful unfolding, imaho. Letting all the impermanent things come and go, and simply aware in the magic mirror of mindfulness, like reflections in the mirror of mindfulness, like clouds flitting momentarily through the brilliant diamond-like sky, sky-like nature of Buddha mind, one's own mind, and enjoy the joy of pure presence, of presencing, of natural meditation. This breath, only breath, this moment, only moment. Imaho. Wondrous. Eureka. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. just sitting, just breathing, just being present, aware, incandescently present, luminously attentive, focused, at ease, yet dynamically interested, aware, a combination of relaxation and inquiry or openness, moment to moment attentive awareness, beyond judgment or evaluation, liking or disliking, cultivating equanimity, detachment, objective, present awareness. Here's the key: aware of whatever momentarily presents itself in the body-mind continuum in the present moment. And letting it go, letting come and go, letting be. That's the key. Imaho. See through all these dreamlike, ephemeral, evanescent, impermanent phenomena and noumena mind stuff. And rest at home and at ease in the natural great perfection, renowned as things left just as they are. The natural flow, the natural state. Ordinary, natural, genuine is the path, the way, the truth, and the light. Imo. Way to go. Thank you.